Welcome, guys, to the SBN Network podcast. I'm your host, Steph, and with me is...
I'm Scott.
Yes.
And I'm Scott. We know how to do intros now.
This is a podcast where we take some deep dives into some wonderful artists and kind of look at their account in a different way, which is always a little bit positive, a little awesome, and you guys can enjoy their accounts with us.
And now that we've gotten more professional, I try not to say any dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I try to at least always end on a good note.
How it's supposed to sound.
Yeah, I'm going to welcome you first, so that way we can start this if I need to clip it out, because I'm really excited that you're on here, because I feel like I discovered your account recently because of Sisters in Plastic and everything else. And then all of a sudden you're everywhere that I seem to look. So toyphotographers.com and everything. Yeah. So welcome.
And I think I discovered you because of toyphotographers.com with the meetup at the beginning of the year. I think I may have followed you, but I didn't know your account as well. And so I kind of took a deep dive into your account back in January and started to get a feel for what you did. And then I saw when you did the live with the great Tourmaline.
Yes.
And that was super fun. And I really enjoyed watching that. And so that was how I got to kind of beginning to understand your style a little bit. Now after this last week and a half, now I'm deep.
I think you know me more than I know my my style, which is
your images in my sleep. They're just following me around.
That's crazy to me that it's I'm a study.
I love it.
It's cool. Everyone should just join this podcast just so that other people could recreate your work and then you can talk about it, because it's a very strange phenomenon.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you look at yourself. I don't think I necessarily thought I had a style, but then you posted your version, your 3 pictures, and then other people were commenting on the bottom of it, yeah. And I was oh, I do that a lot. And it's weird. Because I was oh, I apparently have used toilet paper rolls several times.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's a really cool thing, and I love that this is, I'll be honest, Steph, you can correct me. I don't know if this was actually our plan from the beginning on how this is going to go, and then I think you brought up the idea of doing a challenge, and then I was yeah, we should try to shoot like that person, and then we just started talking about this, and then it became that became the cadence for this podcast, and
it's brilliant.
I feel like people are really jumping on board with it, and now I love that other photographers are imitating, everybody's trying this out, and I think it's just such a fun experiment, and I think it really is a reminder that we are a community of people that should be having fun together. And at the end of the day, that's really the point of what we all do. So
it's a fun exercise, because I don't think, for myself anyway, I don't think of myself in that way. I'm oh, I'm posting these pictures. So to go back to how you said, oh, you just found me recently. My very first photo is from
2016.
Yeah, it's from way. Yeah, I think it's 2015. Oh, 2016. Yeah, I think it's 2016. That's right.
Do you have it, Steph?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
In the slide
it's from a long time ago.
Because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
So I've been taking. Yeah, it is from 2016. So that's crazy. Yeah, so I purposely had this as my most recent photo because I wanted to, as an experiment, recreate a thing that I did at the beginning, because I was interested to see
your work.
I was interested to see what you would say about it, but also, I've been taking pictures since 2016. It kind of started out as a one-off. I really didn't. I think a lot of toy photographers are that is not their intention, that it's going to encompass all of their life, that it's going to become this this thing. Because so back in 2016, the idea of this photo was, so my husband, he proposed to me with like a Lego heart-shaped box, which I have here. So if anyone wants to see it, here it is.
That's adorable.
And so he basically was like, "Will you be my player too?" And the like ring was in here, and I opened it up, and it's funny that was like, obviously it's a significant moment in my life because that's when my husband proposed to me. However, Lego was not like a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Legos, but I didn't have a lot of Lego. And my cousins had Lego, but I didn't really have too many. I just had like one box when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a lot of Playmobil because there was this store by my house called Bubble Dragon. And so like in Bubble Dragon, they just had a lot of Playmobil sets. And I would always be like, that's what I want for Christmas or like for my birthday. And so I would get a lot of these Playmobil. And then I guess I went on this tangent. So I got a lot of Playmobil, and then my brother, who's like, I have a brother and a sister. My brother's 12 years younger than me, and my sister is the middle of us, and she's 8 years younger than me. And my brother was like very obsessed with like gladiators and like swords and fighting, and so we ended up having a lot of like gladiator Playmobil, and that was like one of the things that we still had. And so I was like, oh, I had seen this. I basically saw this like thing of this guy, Andrew White. So Andrew White is like a photographer who does like long exposures, but he had this, he did like a series, like a 365 where he was taking pictures of this little sig fig, which at that point in time, I like didn't even know that Lego did that. Like that they weren't just the yellow like I know it's
a good
but
epiphany to have though.
it is and anyway he was like doing this, and I was thinking of a gift to give my husband for our first year married for Christmas. Like I was like, I don't know what to get him, and I figured he's probably gonna do something cool because he usually does cool stuff. And and I was like, oh, we never took pictures dating. So the thing is I like photography. My dad has always been a photographer. He had a Minolta when I was a kid, and like it was always like very much part of like my mom is always like, we gotta take the family photo. And then my dad always had a camera, and so I learned how to take pictures like really young. And then I would take pictures of like my sister at my sister's dance studio. I was like doing that as like a side thing. I would kind of help. I would just take pictures for their studio, and then I would occasionally take pictures of my brother's hockey game. So I'm more of an action photographer, I guess, as opposed to like landscapes. And then I was like, oh, but it's weird because I never take pictures of myself. And so I never really took pictures of my husband dating. So when we were dating, like we go to these places, but we didn't really take photos. And in hindsight, you should probably do that, but probably lucked out in this idea, because what happened was I saw Andrew White taking pictures of like his sig fig at all the places he was going. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to recreate my life with Lego sig figs that look like me and my husband. Like, I can do that. And I had like basically taken the two figures and brought them around everywhere that we like was significant in our dating life. And then so this is why it's called the Perry Lego Adventures.
I was gonna ask you if that's how that does it. Yeah,
it's called the Perry Lego Adventures because I was recreating our life, and a lot of like, I think if you look at like the very first few months, it's just two figures like in everything. Because originally was doing this like Where's Waldo thing where I would try and like recreate scenes from movies and stuff using me and my husband, because I was adding them to the like scrapbook thing.
So I want to go back a little bit then, because you said that you did photography. Like photography's always been around in your life.
Yeah.
How long, like, what is the timeline as far as, like, when you started shooting versus when you brought toys into the mix? I wanna, like a
Oh,
real kind of, like, as
that's
specific as you can. Like, did you shoot when you were, like, a little kid? Like, did you have, like, a
yeah.
little tiny film camera? Was it, like, one of
So
those things? Yes, exactly, that's what I was
Yes.
hoping. I was hoping to see
okay,
that.
so it's this.
Alright.
Basically, what's really funny about this is my mom was like, they're cleaning out their house, my parents' house, and my mom was like, "Oh yeah, you know that like film camera thing that you used to carry around everywhere? It's a Fisher Price zoo. Like it's
Mhm.
the trip to the zoo thing." And I
Yeah.
would just like carry it around and pretend that I was taking photos like of
Mhm.
everything, and which which is like, I guess in hind, and that's when I was really small, like that I was doing that because it's a really old toy. Um, so I basically have had that for a very long time. Um,
Mhm.
and I know when my first photograph, what my first picture that I ever took was because my mom has it in a photo album and it says Sabrina's first photograph. And it's like from 1996, and it's
Wow.
I picture that I took of my mom in a park. Like we went to a park and I just took a picture of her like in front of this slide. Um and that's it. That's like the very first photograph I ever took. So if that's 1996, and then my first toy photograph, I guess
Would've
if
been
You
you're considering
posted.
Instagram,
Yeah.
posted is 2016. But I also have like, so my best toy, like my best friend toy growing up, is this like dress up Ernie. And he basically went to like every vacation that I've ever been on. He went to my, this is not embarrassing at all world, but I brought him to my first day of college in my backpack
good,
because
as you should.
I
You
felt
know,
like he
I
needed to go.
I had a
And
cuddle blanket till I was 23. So I used to take it on because when you're in college, you get lonely. So it's a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah. And I'm not ashamed to say it since I literally just like said that to the world. But anyway,
Yeah.
I took pictures of him like at different places too.
Mhm.
And so that's also been a thing. But I think 2016 is what I kind of got like, oh, this is really fun. But I only had like the two figures and like these Playmobil. But since I named it the Perry Lego Adventures, I was like, I cannot take pictures of Playmobil
Yep.
anymore.
Mhm.
You had to start collecting.
I had to,
Mhm.
yeah, but I really didn't until like last year.
Okay.
Um, cause I don't know. I don't really know what happened, but
What kind of sets
pandemic.
did you start with? What did you start with getting? Was it like, I know you have
uh,
like a Harry Potter stuff and things
I
like that.
do
Like,
that. So I basically have like, I have an Avenger set that my
Mhm.
parents gave me for my birthday. When I turned 30. And then I have the Hogwarts
Mhm.
castle. That is, my family got me that for Christmas. A lot. Basically, I don't buy sets for myself.
okay.
Um, People have given them to me as gifts, and I basically just buy minifigs. One, because I have a two-bedroom apartment and there's no room. And so like getting into any other toy line is dangerous.
You're talking to two very guilty people right
I
now. I
and
understand.
Yeah, and then secondly, I don't know, since I didn't have a lot of Lego growing up, I was
Mhm.
like, I like want, this is a thing that's fulfilling something. I don't really know. And then it's called Perry Lego Adventure, so I was like, I need to stick to this aesthetic, I guess.
Well, and it's funny you say that thing about like not having it when you were growing up and whatnot.
Yeah.
Steph, who were you talking to? Was it Alan who said the thing? I can't remember. I feel like it might have been him who was like, once he grew up and he had like money, he was just like, well,
Nice.
That was
I'm an adult.
Justin.
Justin,
Justin, it
right?
was Justin who said it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, I couldn't buy these things when I was a kid, and now I'm a grown up and I can buy them, so I'm gonna buy them. I
I
love
think
it.
Yeah.
it's Ed Sheeran, like like the singer. He's the one who collects Legos now because he can
Yeah.
never afford them, and so now he
Yeah.
just like has them. He doesn't know why. It's like one of those things that he does because he really enjoys them. So
Yeah.
I think the Perry Lego Adventures could have a couple Playmobil photos in there. You'd be okay.
I think so too. I'm starting to like accept that as like it's okay. I think
Mhm.
I don't basically I don't know when I started getting serious about it cuz like so 2016, which is like a while back, and then I would just
I'm
take
gonna continue this. Ready?
okay. Yes, this is like a this year photo, I think.
Mhm.
My basic okay, so this is I guess part of the origin story. So back in 2016, um I basically still work at this hospital that I've been working at since 2008. But
Do the people you
it,
work with know what you do? I gotta
what?
ask. Do the people you work with know what you do?
Yeah, but not lot now a lot more people know, but before it was like this thing that I just had with like five of my friends who worked in the department with me. Basically, we were like in one room together for 12 hours a day and we all worked a lot of overtime, so we would spend like, you know, 60 hours a week, like so many hours with each other. And
Mhm.
I'd like so that Playmobil photo is actually at work.
Oh
So
wow.
you'll see a lot of the pictures if you basically it's by necessity that I do not have a lot of stuff in the background because I used to just always take them during my lunch break or like sitting in the corner next to the printer and like oh, I have 2 seconds of time, let me just take this picture. And then what I would also do is like annoy my friends with like the five other people that were in the room with me, like with Lego like behind their chair and
Oh
like
man.
trying to take pictures of like scenes. And it would be like this inside joke that I think at first I was the only one, like, maybe not. Maybe they all thought it was cool, but they're just messing with me to joke around with me that this is like, oh, it's Sabrina, she's playing with her toys again. Like, and it's just like those people at work know, those like
Mhm.
5 to 10 people, and then like my family who was just following me on Facebook because they're and um and then my cousin was like, you should get an Instagram, but not really for the Lego. But then what happened was I only ended up posting like the toy photos.
Mhm.
Um and so yes, they do know. They do. And then now years later, I think because basically everyone found me at the same time, which is like 2020, somewhere in the beginning of 2021, everyone was like, this person is everywhere. But like, where did you come from? And I was like, I've just been here.
So
I,
you were
I
saying you brought your stuff to work, like you brought your toys to
Yeah.
work, and but you're not. You didn't use your phone. You're a camera. You are
Oh,
a shooter.
I
So
for
you would have your gear with you.
the first 20, like basically from 2016 to like all of like almost up till like 20, the beginning of 2020, I was using my phone.
Oh, you were okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you think those are like good, like
Oh, they're great.
cool, it's
Absolutely.
great. What's That's really funny, but I think probably, and I'm not going to attribute this to me starting to use my camera, but like maybe that's why everyone thinks I'm a better photographer because like all of my most recent photos are my camera.
I'm gonna say like when I started like with Christy with the Sisters in Plastic
Yeah,
account,
yeah,
actually going out and looking for more female photographers is
sure,
how I started really finding people. Instead of just like checking all the hashtags, I was like,
right,
I'm gonna go through and see what Instagram and it's like really dig down, like go through Lego
yeah,
and like look and see what's happening. And so that's how I found yours is because I was actually intentionally looking for female
for
photographers
people,
to kind of like promote and see what's going on with the community.
yeah,
Is I learned the hard way that you can't just type women with toys into Instagram because that
No,
doesn't come up with very appropriate things. So it's just
no,
like one of those like
yeah,
great things that you have to like figure out.
you have to find
So
other
it's
ways in. Like
Mhm.
it's not
and
simple.
it's interesting that you say that because a lot of women photographers, their name doesn't imply that they are a woman
Hmm.
No.
or or a girl. Because
Yeah.
like you know mine
Mhm.
doesn't
Oh,
even say that. The photo is like a picture of it's one of the first pictures I took. It's like
Mhm.
me and my husband in the forest camping, but he's in front. So
Mhm.
like I think a lot of people assume I'm a dude, a guy, and they'll always say like, "Hey, dude," and I just won't even say anything. Like I'll just be like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, yeah,
Mhm.
no problem, bro. Thanks, dude. Like because I also
Always
talk
comes
like
up.
I know it does, and I like I have a lot of cousins closer in age to me that are boys, and I am a tomboy. I will like admit that like no like that, and so like I've always had that like I'm just one of the guys sort of like
Mhm.
attitudes, I guess, and people have that, so I'm just always kind of used to that as like
Yeah.
a response, which is not a bad thing. It's also not a good thing if you're looking for other women
Yeah.
like which women photographers or whatever who are taking pictures of toys too. Also, it's the content. I don't probably take photos that present myself as like girly.
And I don't think you need to, because like
I
one of
don't
the
think I
great
need to either.
no,
Yeah.
like I think just the point of like having someone to have a common interest with, like
Yeah.
I'm a mom, but I don't talk to everybody who has a mom and think we have things in common.
Yeah.
So just because we have children or we have the same toys in our collection. But it
Yeah.
is nice when you get to find somebody's account and you're like, this is really cool. I like looking at this and I like talking to you. So I'm gonna keep doing it. So just so
It's
happens.
it's interesting when you start talking to the other people.
Yeah.
Because like I think when you don't, you probably feel a little bit more alone, and you don't realize like other people are like following your stuff or like
Mhm.
really like what you're doing. Cuz like you'll see the likes and maybe a little bit of comment like, "Hey, this is cool," but um I guess until you like really start commenting like real things, and then like they talk back to you, that you realize that they're they're actually people too, and they're not
Mhm.
as famous as you. Like it's like this, oh, like you're a real person.
Yes.
And like you're another person who probably is just as nerdy and geeky as me, and
Mhm.
Gotcha.
probably is like having these like, oh, I really suck at photography, why are you presenting my first toy photo? Like
Yeah.
because it's, you know, or like this thing where you're like, oh, everyone else around you in real life is like it's a cool thing, but they have like they're like,
Yeah.
that's cool, but then they just don't understand it. Like
No.
they're supportive of it, and they're like, I'll buy you some Lego or like cool photo, but they just don't understand. But then when you are talking to other toy photographers,
Mhm.
they're like, you only have to say like, oh yeah, like sticky tack, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I got
it's
you.
it's like such a like amazing little piece of
I
like
gotta
Mhm.
ask,
utility.
speaking of, like, stylistically and whatnot, when you photograph, you just said sticky tack, and it just kind of reminded me because I'm looking at this photo right now,
Yeah,
and they're just kind of resting. They're just sort of
they are.
sitting, living their lives. Do you typically try to just not really use a lot of adhesives, not use a lot of like, just get them into a pose, leave them as is, and shoot away, or do you typically like do a little gluing, a little stickiness?
I will say I guess three things about, well, one, this photo is a like recreation of that scene from West Side Story,
Mm.
Tony and Maria when they're in the gym. And I did this photo because my friend, um who I call the Sarge, wanted me to take this photo, and I took it because she is one of the people who like I would annoy with my Lego at
Yeah.
work. And so like this is like a thing for her. Like she was like, I asked people on my Instagram like what photo should I do next, and she is one of the few people that responded. There's only two people. So I I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this one. And then the other one was my aunt wanted me to do Gone with the Wind. So that's why those two photos are
Mhm.
kind of like this. And then I started to do this thing where I was using my desktop as the background of stuff.
Mhm.
And I didn't use a lot of sticky tack and like those other like a lot of other things like trying to make toys fly or like any extra, because I am usually taking my photos at work,
Yeah.
or
So you're
like,
kind of limited
or
with, like, your
like
time and stuff.
I'm limited on time, and so it's basically how creative can you be without anything?
Yeah.
Like how
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're
simple.
minimalist.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is weird because it's like I don't want to be a minimalist, but I know that I am. Like when it comes to, like I would love to do all that kind of stuff, but
But it
the
works
other
for you.
it
It's like
does.
it's doing the right thing, and I feel like your photos, they make a lot of sense. Like you don't clutter your photos. That was something I tried to make sure of. Like even when I was
Yeah.
shooting like you, and you look at this, you
Mhm.
you focus on reflections. You focus on the character themselves. You're not. It's they're not jumbled. There's not a bunch of chaos and distraction. Um, I think you're doing it like really really well. It was interesting. It is interesting that you don't use a lot of wires. You don't use a lot of tacky because that was something for a first time Lego shooter. I've never taken Legos and taken photos of them until I did
Yeah.
this for your stuff. It was kind of interesting. I'm like, how do they balance? How do I make them? They don't articulate. Okay, what do I
I
do with
don't.
this? And it was fascinating, and it's
Yeah.
kind of And now looking back at I'm enjoying re looking at your photos after
Mhm.
taking photos of Legos.
Yeah.
So it was like I got to do like my first go through, and now I'm going back again and seeing like little
Yeah.
tiny nuances in the way that you shoot, and it's interesting. I like it, and I like
S-
your simplicity. I love
I
it.
appreciate that. What it and I that was like a thing too where I was like, "Oh, am I don't know, cause like I see other people doing that other kind of stuff. Like,
Mhm.
Steph, you've like like you have things shooting out of the ground, like water, and you're like in I don't know where you are, like forest or something, like with
Mhm.
lots of trees. And it's like one of those you get jealous, but
No.
then, or not jealous, but you're like, oh, I should try those things, or like that's a
Mhm.
cool location, like because there are people from everywhere around the world, so
Mhm.
you just like see all this stuff and then I'm like, oh yeah, this literally is like like the weight that you stand on to see how much you weigh.
Hmm.
I was
It's like a
wondering how you got
scale.
that reflection because,
It's
like,
a
it's really
scale.
good.
This is a scale that measures how much
That's
tells you
crazy to me.
how yeah, and then
It's
the
perfect though.
background is like it's like basically I have like a bunch of like backgrounds that I put on like Google
Mhm.
Drive, and I just like I'm like, oh, that would look cool in the background as a thing. But I only recently started doing the background on my computer because I have a little bit more time. But when I first started taking pictures, it would be just like Lego figure on the ground, like in
Yeah.
this location. And then like it would be like because I at first it was like I'm just documenting my day with the
Mhm.
figures. And then it started to get like, oh, I can see if I can recreate this scene, but I don't have a lot of sets. I just have figures. And then I'm like, I can still kind of get this. So part of the reason why I do certain photos is because I know that I can't get it with what I have. And
I get
so
it.
like you have to I think it's like a thing where you think, can I get this look or this
Mhm.
scene with what I have?
Yeah. Like,
So
what do you
she
have
was like,
available to you? What do you
do
can
West
do?
Side Story, and I was like, I legit have no like stairwell. I don't have anything that looks like New York City. Like,
What are your
Mhm.
options? And
what
this
are
is
my
what you pick.
options? This blue gym with
Yeah.
nothing else. But it
Mhm.
is a very important scene because that is when they look at each other for the first time after everyone is like, don't fall in love with each other. And
Mhm.
then, and it's zoned. And I was like, okay, I can do this scene.
Yeah. No, it
Like,
worked. It worked, and
No.
it worked perfectly.
yeah, thank
It's
you.
I really like reflections are hard. You talking about like all the
They
crazy
are.
stuff I have going on, like
Yeah.
trying to get them like is I've still yet to get an almost perfect one, and I love the way this looks. So,
Yeah.
The other thing that I do
oh,
is I try and just always use like basically I don't take any like I only take 5 pictures or less.
Mm.
It's not a conscious decision, but what it is like I started like to do the thing where I was taking a 365, but I basically what happened was like in 2019, like a lot of things happened in my like with my family, like two of my cousins basically passed away young.
Oh.
Like, yes. It like, and I was very, very depressed. Like, I was pretty sad. Like, it was like one of those, like, it's out of nowhere. And then so I was just trying to like pick myself up, and the Lego when I was taking the Lego picture prior to that, that was like a thing that made me happy. So I was like,
an outlet for you. It's
it was,
a lot
and
of people
so
use it that way. I've
they
found that
do.
it's huge in the toy
It's
community.
huge
People
as
using
a
it
morale
decompress.
boost.
Yes.
And
Gets you
so
away.
it was like 2020, before any of the pandemic or whatever. I was like, 2020 is the year I'm going to be like more happy. Like, okay, hindsight, but like 2020, I'm like, I'm going to like really do this thing. And my New Year's resolution was to take one Lego picture a day and post it. Like, that was my thing, because it was like, take 15 minutes out of your day for yourself to do this thing that you like.
Well, you set yourself a goal. I think that's super
I did.
important.
And that is legitimately the first time that I ever did my actual New Year's resolution.
Wow.
Like, I've never, like, I always would be like, oh yeah, this year I'm going to do this, and then I just don't do it. But like, it's the first time that I really, like, I did it. And so 3 things about that is like, I don't take more than like 10, like, I just take whatever it is. If it looks good, like, I stop. First one that looks good, and I'll tear down the set, so I have no choice. Like, people say like, oh, don't put it. I guess it's really simple to put those back, because a lot of them are just like, but I tell myself I'm not going to redo a photo. So if it doesn't work out, then I'm like, on a new photo, and then I'll just take a different picture. And I'll just take, and then I also take all my photos like in a 1x1 square for Instagram, so I know exactly how it looks like, and I'm not going to do any like I like that kind of style, but like, I'm like a person who's like, if you're going to do something specifically for a thing, then just do it all like that.
So you simplify quite a bit. Do you do a lot of editing then, or do you?
I don't know.
Basic?
I probably should do a little bit more editing, but maybe I shouldn't, because it clearly works out for me.
It does.
Because I think everyone think maybe I spend more time on it, but no, it's like, I'll take the picture. If it looks good in camera, then I'm done. Also, I did because I have a Fuji film, so this is gonna be one of those. I use film simulations a lot.
Yeah.
So
what do you edit in though? Do you use Lightroom? Do you use Snapseed?
Yeah, Lightroom first.
Okay.
Like the first 5 years was like maybe Snapseed.
Okay. Like, just
and then I have Lightroom. I edit all my stuff on my phone because I have no space on my computer.
Okay. So you use the Lightroom app then?
Basically everything is out of necessity. Lightroom, and then like mobile.
Yeah.
Mobile, like Adobe. What is the one on Premiere? Or like, I use Premiere to edit videos, and then I just use all the Adobe Suite stuff.
Okay.
Photoshop.
I have to ask you some questions about Premiere, because I just started using it for this. That's how I've been editing the videos. I'm like, got lots of tricks to it.
Oh yeah, Photoshop, but I don't really Photoshop a lot, because I usually try and do everything in camera. And part of it is because I don't like to. I'm not gonna second guess the thing. If it looks good, then it's fine. Yeah. Occasionally, I will just add more light if it was like kind of darker. But like, I really won't add like much. I'll probably just fix highlights, and that's it. Because I don't have to crop anything, because I took it into 1x1.
It's funny that you say that too, because like, when I went to go take my photo, which I didn't post yet because I like to do it a little bit later.
Sure.
I was trying to do it squarely, because I noticed that it was really even with everything. I did not succeed. Let's put it that way. So prepare yourself.
I know. See, and I would be like, and the thing about it is like, now I'm like, I would like maybe to take more landscape looking shots, but then I'm like, I know how to do that. But I mean, like,
yeah, your eye doesn't like it.
Now my eye is like, you gotta be a square, which is like, yeah, just don't go
I have
outside
a
of the
friend who
lines.
basically he has been shooting with a 35 millimeter lens, fixed
Yeah.
35 millimeter lens, his entire photography career. He
Yeah.
never changes it. Like, and he's a fine art photographer. He focuses on
Mhm.
documentary style stuff.
Mhm.
But that works for him, and that's his thing. He does not change his ratio. He does not change he shoots in 35 millimeter format, and
Yeah.
he shoots with a 35 millimeter lens on the same camera body, and that's how
Mhm.
he shoots, and that's it. And it's one of those things. If it works for you,
Yeah.
why change?
Oh,
Mhm.
one of the other things is like, so I only have one lens. Well, no, I lied. I have 3 lenses, but I originally only had one, like the lens that like the kit lens for my
Mhm.
Fuji. Then I bought a 35 because I knew I wanted that focal length because it's crop center. So I knew I wanted the 50.
Mm-hmm.
So I just bought the 35. That was it. That's all I had. And so for all of, and then I did this thing where I was like, oh, I'm just going to use the same lens so that I can practice one lens. Like one, just everything has to be like this. And if you can't do it in this like parameters, do something else. Like,
Well, I will tell you, I
and it's a good
purposely
way to
shot.
like really learn.
Yeah.
But I purposely shot all of your style photos,
Yeah.
with a Fuji with a 35 millimeter lens on it.
Yeah.
So
Because
I went straight down the line. I did all 3 of them just because that is the perspective you tend to use.
that is the
It
most
is,
simplest thing. Yes,
yeah,
this is my
and I
nephew.
get it.
Yes.
We got to ask about this little guy because he does show up in your work and
He
in
does.
your live streams and your
He's so adorable.
he is so cute, and I love that you bring an assistant into your life because I think that is the part that makes this fun for everyone is
Yeah.
the human element. Like, okay,
Mhm.
great, this person takes good photos. Okay, cool, this person takes a cool photo. Okay, neat. That's great. That's really fun, and we love that. And that's the base. But really, this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
him, like that's the fun. That's what connects us all and makes us like want to interact with each other. And I love everything you have done with him. Like whenever I see him pop in, like I've
Yeah.
seen him before, and it's just so funny. Like his little like decisions he makes and stuff. No, do that. Change that. Like move that guy. Like it's so
Yeah.
funny. It's great. So
So incidentally, so this photo is like after we did the live stream.
okay.
So, but what happened was basically I like come home from I'm like getting home from work and I get this FaceTime call from my sister and
Mhm.
she's like Elliot wants to I forgot what she was like. Elliot wants you. He wants to take a Lego picture with you. Like the purpose of the call is for him to make me take a picture
Mhm.
of like the basilisk eating Harry Potter. Like
Mhm.
the call is like I haven't even like got home from work. I get this call. He's like, you have to do this. Like we have to do this, and I was like, okay, let's just like do you like. I asked my sister, I'm like, LaSalle, is it cool? Like, can we live stream? Like, how like this is your child? Like,
Yeah.
like I mean, I don't know how popular I am. Like, it's one of those like
it's a little weird. There's some gray there. I get that.
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, well, this is one, it's not my kid. Two, but she's like, yeah, it's cool. Because he will send me videos of like reviews where he's like, there's like 10 points of articulation on this dinosaur, and I'm like,
Good
I only
kid.
have I only have Lego. They only have 7 points, but whatever. You have like cooler toys than me. And then like but he like called, he wanted me to do this thing because he knows that I take the pictures, but
Mhm.
he's basically has not been to my apartment because of the pandemic. And so like um and he's like older now for he can just demand things.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, and
I don't
like
know that feeling yet. I haven't gotten there. No, I haven't. She's starting.
but like and then so he's like he wants to do this thing, so I'm like, okay, I will, let's do it. One, it's fun because I
Yeah.
hadn't taken my picture of the day. 2, like, okay, he wants to do this thing with me since we can't hang out. Like, okay, uh, unplanned completely. So all of that is just like us just having fun, which is like the fun part about it. Like
Yeah.
what was really cool about it. And yeah, people
that's
should do
fun.
that more often because children are the ones like we're taking toy pictures and toys are like geared towards children. And
Yeah.
like you're doing this
Yeah.
thing where you're trying to make things look alive or like bring back some nostalgia into your life as being like a child, but like to see it in like kids' eyes is like really amazing.
Yeah, we have
And
to
they
bring it
like
back. We have to remember what that felt like. And sometimes,
yeah.
we can
Sometimes you
pretend
don't.
that we do. We can pretend that
Yeah.
we know it like, oh yeah, we know how to do that. We know how we felt. We know how but
But we don't.
honestly, we don't. And it's an important reminder
It
here and
is.
there. Like, because that's what we're
Mhm.
trying to capture. We're all trying to
Yeah.
capture that. We're all trying to remember that feeling. And having a little human around to
Yeah.
remind you of that. And I mean, Steph knows this. I didn't start doing this again
Yeah.
until I became a dad. Like I had really gotten away from all this stuff. I had gotten away from Star Wars like collecting. I forget I had never even really done toy photography.
Yeah.
It was something I always wanted to do. I did not even attempt this until my son was born. And it was like, it took me a while, but he clearly sparked that. And that's the thing
Yeah.
that kids do, and having them around and seeing their reactions. I think that's what's so special about this photo too, is like he's in it and he's part of it. This is something I
Yeah.
need to do more of. I really need to get some photos. I'm not saying it needs to be on like my toy account, but like,
Yeah.
I want to get some photos of Elliot
Mhm.
interacting with his toys and interacting with his things, the things that he enjoys. He's really into cars. He loves Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
He loves the movie cars. Like I need to get that because that is how he communicates with the world right now. That's how he
Mhm.
connects to things around him. We can all talk. He can't talk yet. And so
Right.
his way of, talking, says his words and whatnot is with these little cars. And
Yeah.
it's yeah, he's cool. I like this kid. I like him a lot.
It's interesting that they have the same name.
Yeah, I know. Yep. What
Yeah, that's the basilisk. He's obsessed kind of with it.
It's so
So he got to keep it.
good. He earns it. He earned that one. He earned that one. Is he a big? So you were talking about the points of articulation. I got to ask about him. Like, what is he into? Is he into dinosaurs? Is that like his
Yeah,
thing
he
that
likes
okay.
dinosaurs. Like every kid likes dinosaurs. I think that's
I
like a
love
given.
dinosaurs.
Like Jurassic Park. He's very
Yeah.
man, just Godzilla.
Mhm.
Like those.
So good.
Yeah.
Does he watch that Camp Cretaceous show? The
I don't
Jurassic
know.
Park one? It's I'm not gonna lie. I tried watching it. Kind of
Yeah.
interesting. It got my attention. It was fun. I haven't really gotten that far into it. I tried to have Elliot watch it, but he wasn't interested yet. He
Yeah.
wants to watch Cars. He just always says Cars instead. Cars instead. I'm like, okay, Cars instead. All right, fine. But
No, I think Raylan is just about ready. How old is Elliot? Like Sabrina, your nephew.
5.
5. That's how old Raylan is too. Yeah. Yeah, and that's like you're right. It's the right age. You said that where they demand things, and you're right. Like they want to
Yeah.
help, they want to play. My Mythic Legions came in, and I got this Dio that I paid quite the price for. But instead of
Mhm.
like trying to put it away, he's like, "Let's go play in the garage." So we
Right.
went and had a battle with these
Right.
figures that we spent quite a bit of money, but it was fun.
Sure.
And that's like the most like. I didn't get any
Yeah.
photos because I was too worried about breaking things.
I get
but
it.
it was like one of
I
those
get it.
things.
Yeah,
So-
he took a picture on my like there's a picture of like a dinosaur sliding by on my Instagram. He took that picture, like Elliot, with my camera.
Yes.
I let him hold it,
Wow.
which is
Yes. I
scary,
remember
but
this
okay.
photo.
And it's interesting that he is seeing this, and it's something like we consider just in the last like 6 years of thing like really escalating, and he's seeing this, and this might be something he's really interested in later on too.
Yeah, I don't know how like that will infect his like he clearly knows that I do it because he'll
Yeah.
call specifically about
He'll be
doing
into
that.
it. He's
So,
right to it. He's got the
cute.
bug. You can tell.
yeah,
It's already there. Oh,
this
there we
is
go. Towel roll.
this is actually a this is actually like those rolls. So I work at a hospital. This is like a picture that I took in the ICU while I was waiting. I was waiting to leave for work. I was just killing some time, and this is like I did basically it is like what they roll. What is on that? It's like the stickers. Stickers get rolled onto this, and then like it was an empty one that I had like wasn't. I was like, before I throw this out, I'm gonna take a picture with it, and I do carry like a little Ziploc bag of like I basically just put figures in it, and then if I see a thing, then I'll be like, okay, whatever looks good in this like spot right here, I will just take this picture. So this is like me waiting for the end of shift, like waiting to punch out by the clock, taking a picture of this thing, and then posting it immediately. Like just like took the picture, and then I was like, I'm done with my picture for today, and then like posted it. Like that was, I'd like darkened the colors on this, and this is actually a cell phone picture.
Looks good. And I gotta tell you, so a little context with the paper towel roll. The first toy photo I ever took was with a pile of toilet paper. So that was my first toy photograph, was me in my bathroom on the floor with rolls of toilet paper. And so when I saw this, I could not do something with some sort of cardboard roll. And I will tell you, I cheated as well. Mine were not paper towel rolls or toilet paper rolls. They were actually from the warehouse I work at.
They're just like the drums,
pallet wrappers, and they're like this tall, and like they're it's a bunch of pallet wrap. So I have just a bunch of empty tubes that I've collected over the years, and I was like, I'm gonna take these out and I'm gonna stick a Lego in them. So
this is waiting for like the end of shift. Just
I love it.
This is Miles. Just like whatever. I was like, oh, this looks like a sewer. I can get away with this.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta bring my stuff to work. I'm like, and now I'm looking at your photos and I'm thinking more and more about this idea of having toys with me more often. And now that you got me into Legos, they're so small. Like
they are. You can just carry like 2 or 3 in your pocket. That was like the ideal of it. Was like I can, when I'm crazy at work, I can just like take a walk to the bathroom, and like on the way, just like go outside really quick, take a quick photo, and then come back. Like take your 15-minute break, do whatever you want to do, and I've taken a picture, and then I'm just ready to do whatever else I have to do for the rest of this shift. You know, like it's that's one of the reasons why it always looks like I don't have any setups. It's because I don't.
You're just going for it.
Yeah,
Looking at this, I would have never guessed this was just like into the shift, coming out of the pocket. Sabrina snaps a photo at her work. Like, you do a good job of like really like if you're even snapping a quick photo, there is definitely some intention behind it.
I appreciate that. I think what it is I've learned to be very like quick at being intentional. Like just taking it really quickly. Like I've basically what happens is I've probably thought about taking that, and then just whenever I have the moment to do it, then I will just like complete the task. Like because I had the idea to take this photo probably like a while ago, and then was like, this is I finally have 3 seconds where I can just go 1, 2, 3.
Yes. Do you ever write anything down, or you just kind of like store it in like this mental place?
Oh, I don't write anything. No, because usually it's like what I see there is what I'm taking the like I don't know, like there's like a photo, like there's a photo of like Batman, and he's like on the carpet, and it looks like there's like lights. That is basically because Yeah, like that's when I saw that on the ground. I was like, oh, that looks like a really cool thing that like I would love to do in real life as a street photographer, and have
Mhm.
never been able to take that photo that I was like, I could take this photo right now and he's not moving. Like,
Steph, did you say you have that photo in the slideshow?
Yeah, it's coming up.
It'll come up. Okay, good.
this is a Sisters in Plastic challenge.
Mhm.
I think it was about like it was for February.
It's for
Love,
Valentine's, yeah.
Valentine's, St. Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it's for
Valentine's.
Galentine's, yeah.
And I have a lot of Harry Potter because I love Harry Potter. There's
Yes.
no ifs and yeah. Like there's not really a lot to say about. There's so much to say about it, but like basically, I just love Harry Potter, and
Mhm.
Absolutely.
basically like series 2 of the Harry Potter is the only thing ever that I have like everything in.
Ooh.
Like because so I'm like when I play video games I'm like a completionist and it's bad. Like I will spend I have to get 100%, like I have to find all the Easter eggs. It's a thing, and so like I tell myself that I'm not going to try and complete anything
no.
because like I know that I will want to, and
Mhm.
but I incidentally just happened to get all of the like just randomly just drawing like maybe I
wow.
like felt the bags up a little bit to find certain ones.
Like, you're like,
Maybe.
Maybe, but that's the only one that I have like completed a set for. And then my friend for Christmas gave me like the advent calendar, so I just have a lot of the Harry Potter figures. So that's why a lot of times I'm like taking those photos, and why they're always so balanced, because I'm like, oh yeah, like figure they match.
Mhm.
This is at the laundromat too.
I was gonna ask.
This is at a laundromat. I'm waiting for the laundry. And it's basically like it's a towel rack.
a towel rack. Okay.
It's a
That's cool.
it's a towel rack that like they have the paper towel rolls on it, but this
Yeah.
is like the circular thing underneath it.
Oh,
Uh,
very cool.
And the background is basically like the rest of the laundromat, but it has awesome blur.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was gonna
Like-
say your backgrounds, like I've noticed sort of like architecturally, like you can see where pieces match. There's one coming up that's like a triangle that's really
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm. And yeah, you
What-
you use
I
shallow
don't
depth
even-
of field really well because and I think you're good at it because you have to be. Like you said, you have become a creature of necessity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and because of where you shoot and how you shoot,
Yeah.
learn to just the
Mhm.
background can be whatever, and you just kill it. Like just kill
Yeah.
the background. Like it. If I have to shoot into a crowd of people, so be it. Just make them
Yeah.
disappear.
I think that's
you
it's
do it so
crazy.
well.
Thank you. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know, but I'll just post it because I'm not thinking about what I'm like have. I'm just like, this is a cool shot and I'm happy with it, so I'm just gonna post it.
Perfect.
And I think that's why the style is like that.
Yeah.
Oh no, this one's first, and then we have going to the next
oh my
one.
gosh.
Okay.
Class.
So this picture is so for the toyphotographers.com, they have a MeWe group, and in the MeWe group they have these recently they've been starting to do these virtual meetups every month.
Mhm.
And so the last one, I don't know how this happened. Okay, basically what happened is everyone just kind of recently discovered that I've been there because I've been kind of hiding. I basically have been one of those, like, I've been following everybody for forever, but not commenting on
Really
things.
Mhm.
Kind of like, oh, I'm in the background. I've literally listened to every single podcast.
Oh wow.
I listen to like all the toy photographer podcasts, and I've
Mhm.
like basically been following this thing. This is crazy to be on because I like listened to the first episode, and I think I've heard every interview, like a good like a lot of them. So it's like crazy to be on these things that I was like secretly like not secretly obsessed with, just like, oh my God, like it's crazy because like you look at all the other people who you've had. Like you've had some amazing photographers, and I did not really I'm glad you think that I am one of these like really cool people that could be on your show.
Cool person.
But like it's very surreal. And like so Toy Photographers was like, "Oh, we want to do a lesson where you show." Basically, they got me because I do all the I do all my simple setups, and I've acknowledged the fact that like I did a lot of my photos on my phone, and I have no lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just using flashlights for a long time. I did recently like upgrade, but that was like a month ago. Not like so. A majority of all the photos on my page are like whatever lighting I have is what I'm using. Try not to try and make it look as good as you can.
What you just said is key. Like people, it's great to see people who do complicated things, like to see their process and to see how how do they set up these crazy scenes with these dioramas and whatnot. But seeing how somebody does your simplified version, your quick version, your rapid fire, like you do toy photography, like kind of like a street photographer.
I do.
You work more on impulse, and you work more on, you're not making these big elaborate plans. Like I have a tendency to overplan. I think about stuff like for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. You're much more reactive. Like you see something, you see an opportunity, and you take it. And I think that's super cool. I don't think I have as much of that like naturally in me. I have to try to pull more of that out. So watching people like you, watching your process, watching your setup, doing live streams, and doing stuff for toyphotographers.com, I think is helpful for people to see like, oh, this is how I set up a scene. It's like, oh my gosh, did she just do that in like 10 seconds? It's like, yeah, she did, because she can. So.
This is so what happened was like David Barnes, he took the opposite approach to me. So he basically had like a lot of lights and like a much bigger setup than I did. Then we purposely did it so that we could show like we could both take similar scenes. But this was a photo that I took before that as a test to see like what I could do. Even though apparently I've been doing it the whole time, but it was one of those like you're so paranoid about showcasing how you come up with a thing that I was practicing it as if I didn't know. Which is, it's weird because it's an outer body experience to hear other people talk about like your work, like when you posted like your analysis of like toilet paper rolls and simplicity and balance and like all of that you said. I knew it was me, but at the same time, I'd like never thought about it that way.
I thought you were reading about somebody else.
I basically thought like that's what this is posable thumbs. Like I
get it.
Like this is JDR. Like I don't. This is Shelly. Like I don't know. Like this isn't me. It's like a very weird experience. It's cool. Everyone should do it because it's neat, and you should like. And like when I was like, I had this idea to take pictures of yours.
I know,
because I was like,
it's on here. Hold on.
I got so excited.
So excited.
I got so excited.
What this is like I have no Nendroids. And I have only Lego. And what's crazy is like I don't have any stormtroopers, which is like I know like a thing. Like why? And it was like I had the epiphany that like everyone is always taking pictures, which I know everyone's always taking pictures of Star Wars and stormtroopers and like the Mandalorian. I have literally none of those things, and I was like, I cannot copy anybody.
I know. But look what you did. I love the fact that like honestly, for Steph's photo, you picked something with a big head and big eyes. Like I love that. It's just so funny. And the fact that you did put a Star Wars character in for mine, even though you're not a Star Wars collector, it's not like you're
I love Star Wars, but I don't collect any.
It's so great that you made it work, and that's the challenge of it. That's what I think makes it so fun. I think, you forced me. It sounds terrible, everybody.
No, I know
Like,
what you meant.
you forced me to dig into my box of Star Wars Legos that I haven't
Yeah.
pulled out. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. And I just started pulling the little guys out and trying to figure out what I could create with it. And that is, that's as much part of the challenge, like, is figuring out what you have and how to
How to
best,
mimic someone.
how to
Yeah.
best mimic, even though you don't necessarily have the exact same
Yeah.
stuff.
And I was like Scott you always like take your pictures like landscape
Mhm.
and like you do this cool thing where it's always like the characters are always like way in the back and like it's like there's a lot of distance from the camera to your subject and then
Mhm.
there's even more distance after it because it's in the middle of in the middle
I
and
know.
not like foreground and background, which is
Mhm.
awesome. Like I think it's cool, but I'm like I never have that much space.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you're
to
shooting in a hospital sometimes.
Yeah, or like shooting in my like 1-bedroom apartment, or like this is like the balcony.
That's
Like,
so good though.
and
Yeah.
It's so
it's
good.
like I was like, okay, there's no real like I didn't feel like I was like I'm not gonna drive to a forest. But this kind of looks like trees. Like this looks like enough trees to like kind of look like
Exactly.
where stuff would go.
Exactly. It's so good. It's so good.
No, you've been our first guest to ever do this too. I think I
That makes me so
messaged
happy.
Scott this image like within
Yeah.
3 seconds of you
I
posting. I
hadn't
was like,
seen it.
stop.
And I
Yeah.
looked at it and I went, and it made like the screaming face. And I was just
I waited for you to post yours.
did you?
Mhm.
Okay.
Because I
good.
was like, I'm just gonna wait to see when
What happens?
what happens. Because like sometimes you guys post it after the podcast,
Mhm.
and then I was like, okay.
He did
And
it.
I originally planned to do it separate days. Like I was gonna do one of yours on like yesterday,
Mhm.
and then the other person like the day before. But what happened was I can't remember what photo I took in between because I literally because I was like yesterday. Whatever photo I posted 3 days ago was an unplanned photo. And then I was like, I guess I have to post this one and then I'll just post these two like in
Yeah.
one. Because I
I
can't
like that they
remember
were
what
together though.
Yeah.
They
And
made
then I
it
was like,
nice.
oh no, it works out a little bit better. I like it. And then I didn't
Mhm.
realize that I put them opposite sides. So
No, I thought that was like intentional.
Yeah, I
Again, I
thought
was
that
like,
was
this is really
part of
cool.
the framing. I thought that was
I think
all
it's
part of
because
the
the
process.
trees are basically on the right, and
Yeah.
so like I put the thing because do this thing where like you balance your photos with like the trees or like the bushes or the grass are usually surrounding the figure that you take, and then you have water splashes, or it's to the side of like another thing so it's framing. And so I was like, I'll just do this version because I can do this right here in this spot.
Oh, it made me so happy when I saw it.
Oh,
Made
I
me
was so
happy.
excited.
I'm so surprised that other people are going to start to do this now because they're realizing how
hope
much
so.
fun it is.
I
Mhm.
hope so.
I bought a Mandalorian so I can copy
Oh.
JD.
That makes
I
me
was like,
really
I got,
happy.
and then I was like, maybe I need to get a Witcher so I can copy. How do you
should.
pronounce
You got a
it?
slippery-
How do you
slippery slope.
pronounce it?
For Trini?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I
Trini.
like how Steph just says it casually. Just go, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's Trini
Toy
Oh my-
faux.
toy
Oh, toy.
photographer. Yeah,
That's
there we
it.
go. She told us like 4 times, dude. I was like, I'm trying
She
to say it.
pronounces it so well, and I've been staring at it forever. Like, how do you say this? I get it because it's Trinidad, but like,
Mhm.
yeah,
And that was really neat too. It's like it gets you this new video thing where we actually get to see everything in the
Yeah,
podcast now.
it's
Is like
very
really
cool.
Yeah, it's neat to be able to meet
Different
everybody
format.
and talk.
Yeah,
Different format.
So this is the photo she was talking about, Scott.
this is.
I love this. I love this. There's something very interesting about this. Do you know Matthew at all, Morris Wyatt, or
Yeah, yeah.
like this is very like I don't know. It's a different approach than some of your other photography. It's there's just such a like I could see this in a gallery and it wouldn't shock me. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's not like what we all normally do, and it's like we're all just having fun and taking fun. Like there's something
Yeah.
about this that there's I don't know it means more than I think the three of us even realize right now. Like I feel like in 20 years somebody's gonna find this photo and they're gonna put some like super analytical like pile on top of it, and it's gonna get like written about. It's so intriguing. Just how dark, dark the figure is, and how there's that
Mhm.
little bit of light coming off of the thumb of the we know who it is, but we'll just say the
Yeah.
person playing with it.
Right.
Um, there's and it's he's like moving him into the light beam that's coming across. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just it's there's a heavy photo here. I love it. I love looking at this. I really do. Like I really love looking at it. I love the dark
Mhm.
shadows, and I love the hot like bright spots on the side. Um, I think the light on the hand is like perfect. It's so
Mhm.
balanced. When we talk about you as balance, I mean, look at the light there. It's like
Yeah.
you can see the detail where detail needs to be seen, and the detail disappears where you don't need detail to be seen. You've got the shadow of Batman coming down underneath the hand. Um, this photo is fire, like absolute fire. Like
Thank you.
it gets me.
Thank
It
you.
really gets me.
I
Um,
I I'm a stickler for like being able to see fibers and textures. So the carpet to me is like
Yeah.
very pleasing to my eye. That's one of the biggest things. Like even being out in nature, I'm like I'm going to show every piece of dirt and rock that I can
Yeah.
find because I want to. It's like it's natural and like it should be like texturized. So when you sent me this, I was like, wow, this is awesome.
I I like that. So I yeah. Um this is like a photo where I really like street photography.
Hmm.
I told you probably part of the reason why I take the photos the way I do is kind of because I spent like 10 years taking pictures of like sports, like
Hmm.
of
mhm.
dance and of hockey,
Reaction
and like
photography.
usually when you're taking pictures of those kind of things, you're trying to get the whole thing in a small space and everyone's moving.
Yeah.
But you want the pictures to still look amazing, so you always are like anticipating like the jump or like when someone's about to fire a slap shot or like the goalie's making the save and you want to get the puck
Mhm.
crossing the line or like when someone's about to do the most beautiful arabesque in the air and then there's other people around, you want to frame a shot like that. um which is different from like street photography is also very similar because it's like in a moment thing.
Mhm.
So I think because I did that for so long, it's like I'm thinking even though they're not moving, I'm thinking about it like he's walking,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like or this person's grab, even though that's my hand and then the other hand I'm taking the
Mm.
picture,
I was gonna ask.
which is like a really I don't
Mhm.
even know how I got, to be honest, I don't know how I got this shot, but like the lighting, basically this door that goes like from the office that my husband does his work in to like where I, um, where like our TV is like our family room area because it's
Mhm.
like a 1 bedroom apartment. So like I'm always like sitting on the couch watching TV and then the door will be kind of open. And when this is like, it's a really bright day, but like the le- basically I just brought everything down. Like this is in camera, like the shot
Mhm.
is in camera, but like I played with the settings a lot, but I knew
Mhm.
that the sun was going to move because like I keep trying to basically I've tried to get the shot like many times and it never really
Mhm.
worked out.
Well, it
Um
worked here.
and then this
Mhm.
is a part of I think it was a Brick Central like themed photo shot. I think it's for like black and white or like
Mhm.
something dark. And I always, it's the Dark Knight. It's Batman.
Mhm.
He is the night. Like I like it's like if I'm thinking of like, oh, what toys do I have that is dark? It's Batman.
Yeah.
Or it's like Darth Vader, and but it's like Batman's like my like Batman and Spider-Man are my like two favorite. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, but Batman is like different than Spider-Man because he's just darker, obviously. So like that's why it's Batman. And I always imagine Batman, like there's the whole Batman detective thing. I don't know. It just is like a silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
It's dark, and I do like how light hits. Like like Van
Yeah.
Ho, like that photographer is amazing.
If you look like this is okay, we're gonna get way too into this photo. But if you look at like the hand of the holder of the toy and the
Yeah.
toy's hand, if you look like the light is catching like the same way. Like you get the full
Yeah.
edge of the hand of Batman and
Mhm.
your hand. Like you see a defined edge there. And I also love that his shadow does not leave the frame at all. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
see where like the end point is, and it's
It's
yep, all right.
partly because it's a
solid.
square image.
Yeah. But again, because you're working in your ratio and you're working
Yeah.
in your ratio perfectly. You're working the way
Yeah,
that you see
because
the
I
world.
saw it in a square, and so that's why it works out that way. Because if I took that picture like any other way, I don't think that it would turn out the same.
I could not agree more. That is
Yeah.
100%. Like this is meant to be a square. It's
I think that photograph is like a thing where I'm like, I picked it because it's like a one that I strive for, but I don't know if I like. It's one of those like this is
Mhm.
I don't know. It's like a perfect description of. I thought it was like a really perfect description of like my photography
Mhm.
because it's like a thing. I just saw it on the ground and I put it there, and then I took the picture, and then it's me playing with toys. And
Yeah.
like I don't know.
It's interesting that we all think like what we perceive as ourselves and how we do things, and then you get to like read through Scott's stuff and read through the comments about your photography,
Yeah.
and now you looking at this, you're like, this represents what I would like to say is me for my style.
But it's not because clearly it's like
which is cool too.
yeah, I think Spidey goes Heige. He commented on Scott's like photo of my thing about how do balance and I was like, oh yeah, but it's probably because I was taking dance photos forever and trying to get like the photos don't look good if they're not balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Like because it's like you didn't move your camera far enough to the right or left to get the whole troop in or whatever.
Yeah. All right. I think Scott's next. I don't remember. We're gonna be surprised.
I don't even know.
No,
what
it's
photo
mine.
you picked. Oh, it's yours.
I love it.
I love it too. It actually has like almost the same tones as the last.
It's so awesome.
Like the tones are like that's actually kind of weird. Like
yeah, it's like not the same positioning at all, but it's like the same in tone.
That's so strange. But oh my gosh, yeah, this is great.
Is that like Pete in the back?
Yes, but he's a different size figure. I have so the whole
I love this force perspective thing. Probably yeah.
And this is my bookcase because I was trying to find some place that had reflective surface because I was like, oh, she has to like take things like different corners. Yes.
Yeah. I like how it's like it's like one of those I balanced like diagonals.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to get it square and it just wasn't working with all the lights. So
if you had cut it, it would have been you would have lost.
You wouldn't have been the same if it was square. No, this like is better.
Steph, we can't help it. We're rectangular shooters.
I know.
For us. We can't cut out those edges.
Yeah, I took the photo I took the photo of you guys in rectangles. I did.
I did. It's so good.
And it's funny because usually I'll tilt it to like make it like a diamond almost.
Okay. Yeah, you like that Dutch angles.
Yeah, but this way I was like, no, I have to make it straight on. This is the way Sabrina does it, so I'm gonna do it this way.
You did.
I like Dutch angles. I just don't take them that way.
No, you're a very level photographer. That was something I didn't have to think about at all with you because I'm a level photographer too.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't super concerned. It was The only difference was I had to get slightly lower than I normally do because I'm used to 6-inch figures and Legos
Right.
are not 6.
Yeah.
So I was like, I
That's the
had like
kind
my
of
face like in the driveway
in the
like that,
yeah.
like kind of looking and seeing like what they look like. Um, but
This
yeah,
is
I love
cool.
this. I love this.
I
This
like
is
how the
really
lighting's
cool.
coming from like the left. Oh yeah.
Uh huh.
Oof. It just hits them both in the same spot.
Yeah, it is. And again, Steph, you got the whites, you got the blacks, you got like the
Yeah.
dark shadows. I also like that you can still see like the top right corner, the whatever
Yeah.
that is going on over there.
Kind of
Like,
reminds me of like Beauty and the Beast, like gargoyles.
yeah, exactly. Like
They're
I like that
bookends.
like, I
Okay.
like that you can see it. Like it doesn't completely disappear. Like you can see the shape. You can
Yeah.
see the
Mhm.
actual the creature. That's cool. I really like this one. Yeah, I
Good.
hadn't seen this yet. I'm like,
I
I'm
haven't
really
seen it
enjoying
either.
This.
This is neat.
I'll be
Huh.
able to post it here shortly. I was like, I don't
Good.
know. I like the surprise sometimes. It's weird
No,
that
it's
way.
fun, and I'm like, I'm really staring at it now and really enjoying it. And you went Lego too,
Of course.
which is awesome. You have to. It's in the name.
I know. I have to only take Lego now.
That's it. You're
No.
stuck. You're
No, I'm
trapped.
just kidding. I took a picture of a bear yesterday. That's the picture that I took. It was a bear. Now I remember.
There you go. See?
All right, we're ready for Scott's.
Yes.
The roll.
It's like got white, like blasted light in the back, and it's
Gotta
just a
get that
toilet.
blasted
It's
light.
just a toilet paper roll.
Exactly.
I like how it's 3 of them though. That's
Oh, yeah.
cool.
Stacked it
It's
It has to be
It's real-
threes.
yeah.
up. Always
It,
so ridiculous. So it was actually really funny. Like, so this was, and I'm going to ask you this as a Lego pro because I got to ask. So it was bothering me when I set him up. You could see his hand like poking out from under the gun. So I like
Yeah.
actually took his hand off and stuck it in my pocket to take the photo because it was bothering me that you could like kind of see it poking out to the side. Like,
yeah.
when you're posing Legos and stuff, like I noticed people doing all these like crazy things where they like pop limbs off and do all this.
Yeah.
That seems so exhausting. As somebody who like uses very heavily articulated
Right.
figures, I'm like, I sit here and I look at my Black Series figures. I'm like, oh, you can just do that. I don't have to break you to make it happen. Like,
Yeah, you don't
you
have
guys
to
have
put
to
like
do so
sticky
much
tack on the
stuff.
arms to
Oh.
get like to get them to look like they're hugging someone, for example, or like getting that like arm stretch where you're like leaning over. Yeah, I don't because again, I'm like usually just
Yeah,
sticking the
rapid fire.
figure and it's like fat. A lot of times it was tape because that's like what's on my desk.
Yeah.
But like you can tell like but then I was doing this thing where I was just taking the picture and I wasn't editing. So like I wouldn't edit tape out and so it would bother me. So I would just be like, if it can't stand up, I'm not doing it. Like like if I can't get it in like 3 seconds, it's
That's
not
it.
happening. Like if I can't just
Incredible.
stick it on the table and like that's part of the reason why I'm holding the Batman because he can't stand on carpet.
Yep.
No.
Yeah, so you used your
But
hand.
I did take a picture of a Batman doing this. It's in the same spot, but my hand isn't there, and it's a cool photo, but I don't think it's as cool. But it might be. It might be just because it looks like he's just like walking, and it basically looks like the Batman, like a Batman poster.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't. If
Oh,
if you can see the hands that I try and like pull it back,
Mhm.
or not have the hand at all. Yeah, another work picture. This is on my boss's desk.
Yeah.
Was that
She
with a
took.
book?
It's a calendar.
A calendar. Okay, gotcha.
I
Oh,
got
like
my.
the triangle. Yeah, with the
Yeah,
flip
it's a
pages.
calendar.
Mhm.
But that's when I got my vaccine.
That's great.
So you see, the Lone Ranger's got like a shot.
So good.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness.
So good.
That was me trying to make an end title thing. So
I like it.
I love it. We're getting super fancy in here.
I know.
So I like your. Yeah, this is very fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh! Thank you for coming on. Like we're having such a blast with this, and I mean, seriously, looking through your stuff and getting to understand your style more and getting to understand where your ideas come from. Like there is something so fun about that for me. And my thought is if I find it interesting, there's got to be at least one other person who wants to hear about it too. So
Yeah.
like that's kind of the way I look at it. And
Yeah.
if it's
This
just an
is great.
excuse to talk to you guys and stuff, like hey, I'll take it. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's seeing your work and getting a little bit more perspective. I honestly I don't think I realized how quickly you photograph, how quickly you do your sets. Like when you said that, you told that story about like you were getting ready to like leave for the day and you took that
Yeah.
photo. Like that is something I can't relate to. I don't shoot like that, and so I love hearing about like different people's
Mhm.
process, like their processes,
Yeah.
because I can't even do it. Like I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go try to take a photo in like 20 seconds. I'm gonna see what happens, and I'm like, I just start stressing. Like I can feel my heart rate going. Like I don't know how I could do it. Like
Uh,
that photo that I was taking, the one we showed, the one I took of
Yeah.
the roll. I think that took me like 20 minutes, just staring at it for a while, and then like looking at it again, and then taking them back out and putting them back in, and then like saying, no, I think we're gonna move the roll somewhere else, and
Yeah.
like moved them
How
over.
many
Like
shots did you take?
of just that, I don't even
Yeah.
want to know. I don't even want to know
Okay.
because I just kept changing it. I just
Oh,
kept moving
Right.
it
no.
around. I was like, no, I don't like this. Okay, now I do like this. Okay,
I
now I
mean,
don't like
that's
this.
what I do, but in an
You
abridged,
do it like
like,
no, like I'm like sitting there like
yeah.
pondering and looking. And my
Well,
son's like walking around the driveway, like, what is he doing? Like,
yeah,
Oh my
I
that makes me
admire
think.
sometimes I'm like, man, am I not thinking enough? Because everyone is always like on all the podcasts, like, doesn't matter, whatever, like, everyone's always talking about how, like, it took them they have so many
Mhm.
shots of this one shot, like, or they have a notebook and they write down their idea, which is cool because I like hearing about how other people are doing that. And then
Yeah.
I'm always wondering, like, am I too quick to jump and be like, yeah, third photo, great? Or is it like,
That's what works for you. That's the
is
way
that
you
like,
like doing
yeah,
it.
I guess that is what works for me. And
Yeah.
but I'm always because I listen to all the podcasts. I'm like,
Can't help but question. I know.
you can't help but question is like
Yeah.
the way you're going about it, like, it's like crazy because you'd be like, this is why everyone's styles are so different,
Yeah.
which is
Yes.
amazing, is because like where their ideas come from, how they do their setups, like whatever gear they're using, even though gear doesn't necessarily matter, but it's like,
Mhm.
but
even the way that ideas come to
yeah,
the surface, like the way that people like to photograph, what some people are looking for versus like what other people are looking for.
right.
It's
Mhm.
some people like to get really into those wild hyper poses, like with their figures.
Yeah.
I don't get super aggressive with like how far can I bend this person's arm back. Like
Yeah.
that's not the way I photograph. I tend to try to make them look as real as possible. Some people like
You
to
have like
go
a
for that
stillness in your
comic book.
photos.
Yeah, like I try
Mhm.
not to have too much of the excitement most of the time, but some people really love that, those big comic book poses, and I think it's so cool. Like I
I
love
do too.
looking at it. It's just not
Mhm.
necessarily what I do. So I think
Yeah.
people like to hear your process, and I don't think it's ever
Yeah.
the kind of thing you should even change. I think it's just, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
go for it. Try to take a photo and make
I don't
yourself
think
take
I
30
will.
minutes
It's
to
like,
do it, but
yeah.
it's why bother? It's what you do. It's served your purpose, like your
Right.
purposes, like you're doing well with it. So
I'm like more okay with it now, but
good.
it's like one
Yeah.
of those, like, when you think it's like you start thinking too much about
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, then you're like, oh, but then you shouldn't really be comparing yourself. Like, don't do that. It's just fun and everyone's
Yeah.
having fun. And like, you should talk to more people because like everyone is so, so cool. That's why I like, it's like one of those, it's like so addicting because everyone is so friendly and they're like offering up all their like
Mhm.
knowledge to you and like sharing your ideas or like, this is cool. Like, but it's like like a little bit deeper, I guess. And then when you start talking to people like this live or on a podcast or just doing any virtual meetups or anything like that, like, it's great.
Yes, and we reiterate this a lot on here, but I do think part of it just comes from this space where nobody, pretty much nobody, is getting rich off of toy photography. And
Yeah.
I think that helps keep it very civil and level. Like, you don't, like,
There's
I'm
so
not
many
in
different kinds.
competition with
Yeah, that's the
anybody. I'm
other
not
thing,
like
too.
trying to, like, it's like, oh man, this person's gonna get my money. Like I'm just, there's nothing, I don't need to hide anything. There's nothing, I don't have any like secrets that are like gonna
Yeah.
change the world. Like, I just do this for fun. So if somebody wants to try something that I'm doing in order to try to accomplish what I did, and they think that that's cool, do it. Go
Yeah.
for it. I know I have to get better at like putting up behind the scenes photos and stuff like that, because people ask me
I'm
sometimes,
so
they'll send me
bad at them.
messages all the time,
I'm-
and I don't do it.
I've been doing it kind of like if I take a video, but it has to be in a place where I can't do that.
Yes, that's the problem. Yeah, with the way you do it, like, you don't really. You
It's
can't-
guerrilla. I'm a guerrilla photographer.
Yeah, you
It's
are.
like this person hiding in like the hallways, just like
Yeah.
taking a picture. One time I was taking a picture. I was outside. I was waiting for the shuttle to like a shuttle bus. Basically, it like basically drives me from like the outside of the hospital to like where I park my car, and I would always be waiting there, and I would like take a like pictures there like all the time outside. I would be like lying on the ground with my camera taking a picture, and this person was walking in the inside of the hospital, opened the door and was like, "Are you okay?" And then someone else walked by and was like, "That's just Sabrina taking pictures of her toys." Like, you should check it out.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I was like, that is hilarious. And I think it took me a while to get to the point where it doesn't bother me so much
Mhm.
anymore. But like, I used to be like, this is like, you're a strange person.
There's
Like,
lots of strange people.
you probably look really ridiculous right now
Mm-hmm.
lying on the ground taking, and like, because people don't see, and it's a Lego figure, so people can't see what you're doing. They're just like, why are you taking a picture of these rocks?
Yeah, they can't.
And I'm like, it's Master Wu. He's
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the
Come on, pay
ground.
attention.
He's doing his meditation.
I know. We all look weird out there. But
Yeah.
it's part of what we do, and we all just keep on doing our thing. And I love watching, like, I still love watching people's reactions if they walk by me.
Yeah.
My dad will go shooting with me sometimes, and he'll like be watching other people looking at me and just like laughing hysterically, because it's odd. It's very odd what we do. But seriously, Sabrina, it has been an absolute pleasure having
Yes.
you on here. I am so happy you wanted to do this. You just have your Instagram. Do you have any other accounts? Do you do Twitter? Do you do Facebook? Do you do any of those things?
I just am on Instagram. I do have a Twitter. It's Sab K Perry, SABK Perry. But it's all basically, it's just the same as, it's just my Instagram that posts
Mhm.
onto it. Because I am solely just posting my stuff on Instagram.
Mhm.
So you can just find me there, really, or on toyphotographers.com.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. When is
Yes.
that? So when is that podcast coming out? Do you know?
Like, I think next week.
Next week sometime.
Basically, all the podcasts that I'm about to do like drop in the for
They'll
some
probably
reason.
come out around the same time. Like,
It's gonna be like one of those, like, this person like filmed all these movies like 3 years, but then like all of them drop on the same time, and you're like, why did he make so many movies that
at
year?
once.
And you're
Like, yeah, Sabrina's just on every podcast. Like,
Like,
at one time.
it's
one weekend.
accidental. I just basically was like, I can't believe you want me on, and then everyone was
Oh.
like,
So good, so good. Well, we definitely wanted you on. It was wonderful.
Mhm.
Truly a pleasure. You were
truly,
fantastic.
truly, this has been amazing.
Good.
Yeah. Love this.
Well, y'all, thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of the combined SBN F-Stop Rebel podcast. Truly a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed everything. Remember, please do not grow up. It's a waste of time. I am Scott, F-Stop Rebel, and there's obviously Steph.
Yep, I'm still here, and you can find me at Slag My Thrilla or the SBN you'll see all the credits on the end. But I always want to say, just guys, stay awesome and keep it up.